Welcome to Adu Globe. Discover new ideas, learn exciting things, and be amazed every day. This wasn't just an airplane, it was a dream turned into reality. Back in the 1960s, when air travel was only for the wealthy few, one company dared to change the future of aviation forever. That dream gave birth to the Boeing 747. A giant unlike anything the world had ever seen. With its massive size, its powerful engines, and its unique double-deck design, the world was stunned at first sight. When it first touched the skies in 1969, people around the globe looked up in awe. Soon, it was lovingly crowned with a name that would live forever, the Queen of the Skies. But the 747 was more than a machine, it was a revolution. For the first time, flying became affordable for millions, while luxury reached new heights inside its lounges, bars, and first-class cabins. The 1960s were a golden yet exclusive era of aviation. Flying was glamorous. Men in suits, women in elegant dresses, champagne in hand. But it was also untouchable for most of the world. Long-distance flights were a luxury reserved only for the wealthy elite. Ordinary families could only dream of crossing the oceans. Aviation was a closed door, and the world needed someone to open it. And then came a man with a dream, Juan Trippe, the visionary founder of Pan Am. He looked at the sky and imagined a world where flying wasn't just for the rich, but for everyone. He told Boeing, "Build me a plane so big, so powerful, that it can carry the world in its wings. Build me a jet that opens the sky for the people." It was more than business, it was a mission to democratize the skies. Boeing's engineers, led by the legendary Joe Sutter, accepted this impossible challenge. They were asked to do something no one had ever done before: create the largest passenger plane in history. It wasn't just about size, it was about reimagining what aviation could be. A plane so strong, it could carry more than 400 people. A plane so revolutionary, it could cross oceans without stopping. A plane that would forever change the way the world traveled. The scale was almost unbelievable. To build the 747, Boeing had to design engines twice as powerful as anything before, create landing gear that could handle its massive weight, and invent a new double-deck structure. Each piece of the puzzle was a risk, but also a leap of faith. The dream of one man had now become the mission of thousands, all working day and night to create the impossible. As the giant began to take shape, the world waited with curiosity and disbelief. Could such a plane really fly? Could it truly make air travel affordable for the common traveler? The dream was bold, the risks were enormous, but one thing was certain: aviation would never be the same again. When the world first laid eyes on the Boeing 747, it was unlike anything ever seen before. Its double-deck design, with the upper hump rising proudly above the fuselage, made it instantly recognizable. It wasn't just engineering, it was art in the sky. This unique silhouette gave the 747 its iconic identity, a design so bold that even today, decades later, people can spot it instantly and say, "That's the Queen of the Skies." Before the 747, no passenger plane could dream of carrying so many people. Suddenly, here was a giant that could take over 400 passengers across oceans in one flight. For the first time, families, students, and everyday travelers could imagine crossing continents affordably. The 747 didn't just carry people, it carried dreams, turning faraway lands into reachable destinations. In 1969, the world watched in awe as the Boeing 747 lifted off the runway for its very first flight. Cameras flashed, crowds cheered, and aviation history was rewritten in that very moment. This wasn't just a plane taking off, it was humanity reaching for a new era of connection and possibility. The media and the passengers were quick to give it a name: the Queen of the Skies. It wasn't a title given lightly. It was respect, admiration, and awe condensed into a single phrase. The 747 wasn't just another aircraft in the sky, it was the aircraft that defined the sky itself. For countless people around the world, flying on the 747 became a dream in itself. Some saved for years just to experience sitting inside this legend. For many, stepping aboard wasn't just travel, it was the fulfillment of a lifelong wish. The Queen of the Skies was more than transportation, she was inspiration, hope, and the magic of flight. When the Boeing 747 first entered service, it wasn't just a plane, it was a flying palace. Airlines competed to turn the jumbo jet into a symbol of luxury in the skies. Imagine stepping inside and finding not just seats, but lounges, cocktail bars, and even sleeping berths. For the first time, air travel wasn't only about reaching your destination, it was about enjoying the journey itself. First class was pure elegance. Wide leather seats that turned into beds, fine dining served on silver trays, and space that felt more like a luxury hotel than an airplane. Business travelers and celebrities loved it. Flying 747 wasn't just a trip, it was a statement of status. To sit in the front cabin of the Queen of the Skies was to experience aviation at its finest. Business class, too, became a revolution. Airlines began offering wider seats, quieter cabins, and personalized service. Each carrier added its own touch. Some designed private lounges, others added piano bars or spiral staircases leading to exclusive areas. The 747 gave airlines the canvas, and they painted it with luxury. But perhaps the most important story was happening in the back of the plane. For the first time, ordinary families could afford to travel across oceans. The 747's size and efficiency made international tickets cheaper than ever before. Suddenly, students, workers, and dreamers could board a jumbo jet and see the world. The Queen of the Skies didn't just serve the rich, she opened the sky for millions who had never dreamed they could fly. Luxury at the front, affordability at the back, that was the magic of the Boeing 747. It was both a palace in the sky and a bridge for humanity. From the rich sipping champagne to a student taking their first journey abroad, everyone had a place on board. The Queen of the Skies was more than just an aircraft, she was a symbol of dreams taking flight. The Boeing 747 wasn't just an airplane, it became a cultural icon. From Hollywood blockbusters to TV dramas, the jumbo jet was everywhere. In disaster movies of the 1970s, it was the star. In romantic films, it became the backdrop for emotional goodbyes and reunions at airports. The sight of a 747 instantly meant one thing: adventure, drama, and dreams soaring into the sky. Its fame reached the highest office in the world. The United States chose the 747 as the official aircraft of the President, Air Force One. Suddenly, the Queen of the Skies wasn't just carrying tourists and business travelers, but also leaders, diplomats, and history itself. Every time Air Force One appeared, it wasn't just a plane landing, it was a symbol of power, authority, and global diplomacy. For major airlines, the 747 wasn't just part of their fleet, it became their identity. Pan Am painted it as a symbol of global connectivity. British Airways made it the pride of their transatlantic service. Lufthansa, Japan Airlines, Qantas, they all showcased the 747 as the heart of their brand. Passengers didn't just say, "I flew Pan Am." They proudly said, "I flew on the 747. But perhaps the strongest cultural memory is this. Every time a 747 landed, it felt like an event. Crowds gathered near airport fences just to watch the giant approach, its four engines roaring like thunder. Children pointed at it with wide eyes, while photographers clicked eagerly. Even after decades, spotting the Queen of the Skies landing at your airport still carried magic. It wasn't just another flight, it was history touching down. The Boeing 747 became more than transportation. It was in movies, on magazine covers, in songs, and even in childhood toys. It shaped not only aviation, but imagination. The Queen of the Skies was everywhere, in culture, in politics, in dreams. And that's why its fame wasn't limited to the runway. It lived in the hearts of millions across the globe. For decades, the Boeing 747 ruled the skies as the queen. But every reign faces its twilight. By the 2000s, aviation had changed. Airlines wanted efficiency over size, and technology was catching up. New jets like the Boeing 787 Dreamliner and Airbus A350 promised lower fuel burn, longer ranges, and cheaper operations. Slowly, the Queen of the Skies began to feel old. For airlines, the choice was painful but practical. The 747 consumed more fuel, required bigger crews, and often flew with empty seats in an age where point-to-point travel replaced mass hubs. Carriers like United, Delta, and British Airways announced retirements. One by one, the giants were parked, their engines silenced. For many passengers, hearing that the 747 was leaving the fleet was like losing a childhood friend. The end of production came in 2023. The final Boeing 747 rolled out of the factory in Everett, Washington, under the eyes of thousands who had built, flown, or simply loved this airplane. Cheers were shed, applause filled the massive hangar, and history closed a chapter. After more than half a century, the production line of the world's most famous airplane stopped forever. Yet even in retirement, the Queen of the Skies remains eternal. Aviation museums keep her alive. Cargo airlines still rely on her unmatched capacity. And for the millions who once flew on her, whether in economy or first class, the memories remain priceless. The farewell of the 747 wasn't just about a machine. It was about an era, an icon, a legend that carried humanity closer together than ever before. The Boeing 747 was never just an airplane. It was a revolution, a dream with wings. For the first time in history, the world felt smaller, families reunited across oceans, cultures connected, and new opportunities born. Its double-deck silhouette wasn't just metal, it was a promise of adventure, freedom, and discovery. From New York to Tokyo, from London to Sydney, the Queen of the Skies carried millions across continents. Movies, photographs, and newsreels captured her majesty. Even those who never flew on her knew her shape, instantly recognizable, forever iconic. For decades, the 747 didn't just transport passengers, it transported dreams. And yet, as every journey must end, so too did hers. But unlike ordinary farewells, this was a goodbye filled with gratitude. Pilots, crew, and passengers all carried stories of laughter, reunions, and first flights. The Queen's departure was not silence, it was applause, memories echoing in the skies she once ruled. The Boeing 747 was not just an aircraft. It was a dream that came true, a bridge across the world, a symbol of possibility. Even as she disappears into the horizon, her legacy remains eternal. Because legends never truly retire, they live on in the hearts they touched.